Wagwan family, it's your girl Angela Black, comedian, commentator, part-time receipt collector. Because apparently in this province, if you blink, somebody done moved a whole public asset into a private group chat. I lie? Now, today, we're talking Doug Ford, education, OSAP, the Toronto Islands, Island School, Science Center, anti-black racism in schools, and now, because the plot wanted seasoning, Freedom of Information changes and the Greenbelt developer scandal. So, grab your tea, grab your data plan, grab your patience, because Ontario politics is moving like a man who says, "Trust me, fam," while hiding the screenshots. First thing, this is not just vibes. This is receipts. We doing uncle at the barbecue conspiracy talk. No. We doing headlines, dates, documents, watchdog reports, and that special Ontario energy of, why is the public always finding out after the deal done? Let's start with OSAP. The province talks about helping students, but the students are looking at more loans, less grant-style relief, and tuition pressure so that's the help. That's the deal? More debt? That's the help? Okay, fam. This is not support. This is a student loan wearing a fake mustache. If a young person's family already balancing rent, grocery, presto fare, and tuition, how is more debt supposed to be a blessing? Really? The math is just not mathing, fams. It just does not make sense. It's more moving this. Cause this never make a little bit of sense. Now schools. When schools struggle, the government can point and say, look, mismanagement. But if bare school boards are under pressure at the same time, maybe they're running a marathon with the TTC. I don't know. Maybe it's not the board. Maybe it's the funding. Because students feel it. So before blaming the school, follow the money. Always follow the money. And then Island School. Toronto Island Natural Science School gave city kids real outdoor learning. Ferry ride, lake air, ecosystems, nature, hands-on science. Not every family can afford private camps, cottage weekends, forest school with a beige Instagram logo. You know what I'm talking about. Public outdoor education matters because city kids deserve more than worksheets and concrete. When those programs get cut, who loses first? Regular families, working families, black and racialized families. The kids who were never invited to the cottage in the first place. You get me? Now, Toronto Islands and Billy Bishop, public land is not a side dish you can just pass around the table without the public seeing the menu. If the province wants power over the waterfront land, including land connected to airport expansion debates, Canadians need to ask one simple question. Public land for public people or public land for somebody's private plan? Because right now, honestly, it's given we paid for the city, but somehow we need permission to stand in it. I mean, low winner, this is how it sounds. Anyway, then the Science Center. The government said the Ontario Science Center had to close because of roof safety concerns. But later reporting on engineered documents kind of make the story look a little more complicated. So if what the public was told is that an emergency closure was necessary, but receipts are showing that it didn't require a full shutdown, then don't Ontarians deserve to know the whole file? Like, why is it closed? Not the trailer, not the teaser, the full documentary. Oh, with bonus. We want to see the bonus footage, because you can't close a public science landmark and then act all like people are rude for asking questions. Like, bro, you're begging. You feel me? And speaking of asking questions, let's talk Secrecy 2026. The Ford government passed Bill 97 with changes to Ontario Freedom of Information Law. Press freedom. Basically, what this man is saying is that retroactively, we cannot look into any government documents, phone calls, any communication, anything. Now, sorry, but those receipts you asked for, new phone, who, this, what's going on here? Ontario, are we really having this? You can't see my phone. You can't see who I'm talking to, who I'm doing business with, and I'm running the place? And why does that feel extra suspect? Because Ontario already watched the Greenbelt scandal unfold. The Auditor General found the Greenbelt land removal process was not publicly transparent, objective, or fully informed, and that opening the Greenbelt was not needed to meet the government housing goals. The Auditor General also reported that developers and landowners could see an estimated $8.2 billion increase in land value after the removals. 8.2 billion. 8.2 billion with a B. Not borrow me 20 till Friday money. Not split the Uber money. That's everybody in the group chat suddenly quiet money. Okay? We're talking real deal Holyfield money. Now, let us be careful and accurate. Investigations and watchdog findings are not the same as a criminal conviction. But the Integrity Commissioner's report found that Minister Stephen Clark contravened the Members' Integrity Act, and the report described a process where packages from developers were gathered for greenbelt removals, contributing to an improper result. The RCMP also opened a criminal investigation into the Greenbelt matter, according to public reporting. So when the public says, hold on, who knew what? Who texted who? And why did these lands get picked? That is not us being dramatic. However, you refusing to give up that information. Is this what we call a democracy? That little thing we pretend to love every 4 years? And now, if phone records, emails, political office documents get harder to access, the question writes itself. How are Ontarians supposed to check the receipts of the receipt drawer is locked? Or how are we going to check the receipts if we can't see them? Right? This is not accountability. This is trust me, bro, governance. And fam, in 2026, trust me, bro, is not policy. Okay? That's not a public policy framework. Now let's bring it to Black students and schools, because Angela Black did not come here to skip the hard part. Okay? In 2018, before Ford became premier, Toronto principal was reported for creating and circulating a list singling out black students. Parents and students were 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 described as being racially profiled. And the school board apologized, but didn't fire the teacher. So let's be accurate. That was not a Ford campaign event, but it is a receipt showing why black students need stronger oversight, stronger protection, and real anti-racism support in education systems. You cannot cut supports and then act shocked when the same communities keep catching the worst of the impact. Ford himself later acknowledged systemic racism exists in Ontario. So if systemic racism exists, then every education cut, every OSAP change, every school board takeover, every public land decision needs an equity lens before the damage lands, not after, before. Okay? Because if policy keeps landing hardest on the same communities calling it neutral, does not make it fair. It makes the unfairness better dressed. Okay? And we're tired of this diplomatic racism. So Ontario asked the question, who benefits? Who loses access? Who do students get more debt in? Why do students get more debt instead of more grants? Why do schools get supervisors instead of support? Why do kids lose outdoor classroom and science spaces? Why does public land keep feeling like private opportunity? And why, when the receipts start getting spicy, do the rules for seeing the receipt suddenly change? Angela Black is saying this with love, jokes, and a serious side eye. 'Cause we can't just sit down and watch that. Public systems should serve the public. Pull up the receipts, share the receipts, protect the receipts, and when it is time, vote like you remember the receipts. You done know. You heard?